Kia ora and welcome to another episode of Rural New Zealand. I'm your host Scotty Banford. Join me as we check out what's happening throughout Canterbury. Alrighty, on this week's episode, it's off to West Melton to meet a lovely lady who is retraining and rehoming Huskies. We check out the 4x4 action at the latest Winch comp. We try and find some elusive Kiwi at Orana Park. But first we're off to the North Island where we meet the Carrfields livestock team at the Feilding sale yards.
85, bang! Have to go at 85. On the market, let's see 85. 85 dollars, bang! Have they go? They go to Hawke's Bay, 85. An interesting article out of pen number 4 this time. Wayne and Diane Faulkner. There we go, from Martin. This is the farm's being sold on the Mangamahu block.
Today, for something different, we've journeyed to the North Island. We're coming to check out a livestock sale in Feilding of all places. So, nothing better to do than jump the fence and go check it out.
41, 40, 149, 41, 41, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 155, bidding, hold out. 155, your number, 144, thank you.
So at 8 a.m. this morning, we left the South Island in beautiful sunshine to come to the glorious North Island where I thought it'd be sunny. Turns out the weather's in fact worse. Carrfields and livestock, how's that all sort of begun?
2 years ago we purchased Elders Livestock and it gave us an extra footprint over New Zealand, wool and livestock. Feilding has one of the biggest sales in New Zealand and there's a lot of stock in the Manawatu and we have a good following here in Feilding. In the Feilding area we have got 15 agents and all over New Zealand about 80. Some days there's 20,000 sheep and 2,000 cattle come through here in one day. All the stock come in the morning here in Feilding and they all go out the same day.
A lot of the stock agents might take a lot of the glory, but there's a hard-working team in that office, isn't there?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you'll see the girls in there, they're on RTs, they've got to work out all the stock 2 days before what's coming in. Then they draw the stock of what order they're going to be sold in. And then they're always constantly on the RT to the guys of when the pen's been knocked down, who it went to and how much it went for. So yeah, they do a lot of work behind the scenes.
97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 117, 18, 19. Now square the board, sir. 1, 2, 1. Out they go. 1, 2, 1. Thank you, sir. 1, 2, 1.
Donald, how important is having Carrfields' presence in the Manawatu region?
It's been huge. Obviously Carrfields bought Elders 2 years ago and what we've now got is a totally New Zealand owned business, and the Carr family have been good supporters of agriculture throughout their industry, and the staff are really enjoying sort of having that Carr group involvement in the business.
And what is your role within the business?
I'm the National Commercial Manager, so I've been in the industry about 30 years. So my role is really to help drive the development and the strategy of the livestock business.
And in those 30 years, what kind of changes have you seen within the industry?
We could almost have a whole interview on that itself. It's like this side here. We've got live weight selling. It's we've seen a lot more technology coming into farming. It's stock numbers are reduced a lot over the last 2 decades, and it's all about efficiency now. Yeah, we have 2 big sales a week. We have our prime sales on a Monday and our big sales here on a Friday. It's not unusual to have 20,000 plus sheep here. We can be up to 30,000 during the season, and often maybe around about 1,500 or up to 2,000 cattle. So it's a big catchment area. We draw cattle and sheep from all over the lower North Island, and conversely we're also bringing in buyers from all over New Zealand. So it is the biggest sale yard in New Zealand, and it's it does attract stock from far and wide.
And having such a big sale yards, how good is that for the community as a whole?
Yeah, the sale yards are a big part of the Feilding town. A lot of the businesses rely heavily on the people that come here and the activity it generates. We have very good support from the local community and the council, so it's a major part. And today in Feilding on Friday, you'll be lucky to get a park anywhere in town. There's a New Zealand's top farmers markets here on a Friday, so that brings people as well. So it's a very much agricultural town, and Fridays it's key day.
And how helpful is it to have honest, reliable staff?
It is quite critical. I mean, the whole industry revolves around our people, not just Carrfields, the entire industry, meatworks, stock agents, etc. So it's an industry where a lot of things still happen on a handshake. There's a lot of trust between agents and our clients.
How do you think agriculture as an industry is looking forward to the future?
We've still got our challenges, we've still got our geographic isolation, but New Zealand's position in agriculture will still be massive. We are still market leaders relative to our size, so our challenges are always our distance to market, but where we are very good is that our farmers are very innovative and they find the ways of developing the best genetics, the best produce, and we are still well positioned, and agriculture will still be a backbone of this economy for a long, long time.
It was a shame about the weather in the North Island, but it was certainly nice to meet the Carrfields livestock team. Alrighty, after the break on rural New Zealand, we are with Michelle and we talk about the hard work she has done with the Husky rescue. See you guys then. Welcome back to rural New Zealand. Now, Husky Rescue is a great organisation, and with Michelle as the driving force behind it, she is taking animals under her wing and retraining them just so they can go into new homes. So over here, this is where the dogs are?
Yeah, so generally about 10 on average. Hot wire top and bottom, old farm style. Keep them all in.
So Michelle, how did everything get started here?
So we started in 2009, and we started because we saw Huskies were on Trade Me, and then 3 months later they were on Trade Me again, and 3 months later they'd be on Trade Me again. So people weren't getting the right information. And when I started speaking to people, I sort of said, what's the problem? And they said, it jumps a 6-foot fence and it ate the neighbour's cat and it won't come back when it's called. And I was sort of like, well, hang on, that's all just standard Husky traits. It's your responsibility to keep them safe. And people just weren't getting that information, so they weren't able to keep their dogs safe. They weren't catering to their dogs' needs. So it started from there. I stupidly said to friends of mine who had about 27 Huskies at the time, why isn't there a Husky rescue? And they went, it's too hard, too much work. And I naively went, can't be that bad. So they were originally bred in Siberia, so they're the Siberian Husky. Hello, Khan. And obviously temperature's a bit different. These guys can go down to about negative 56 degrees Celsius in their winter coat, but plus 20, we don't run them, we don't walk them or anything in plus 20, and plus 30, we're really struggling to keep them cool enough. So you'll see we've got a couple of really big paddling pools here, lots of kennels, lots of shade for them, and that means that they can run around when it's cool enough, but they can get out of it and get shade, and on really hot days we put ice in their water bowls as well.
Yeah, and what would you say to the average Joe out there who's thinking about getting a Husky? What do they need to think about before they purchase one?
Research the breed, call us, speak to us, come and visit us, and just be really honest with yourself about your own exercise levels, because if you're not already an active person, this breed is not for you. They are 5 kilometres a day every single day.
How does it keep funding itself?
So at the moment, the food obviously is Royal Canin, and then we get sponsored by the International Antarctic Centre as well. So they hire the Huskies 3 days a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, plus public holidays and school holidays, and that's what enables us to then run it as a business effectively, and that just pays for the humans to run it and looks after some of the basic dog needs, and then we rely on donations for all of the nasty, expensive, heavy stuff. So everybody just gets 2 cups, apart from the big guys, and there's a couple of dogs that are a bit skinny, so we give them more.
Yep.
There's one dog at the moment who's way too fat.
Yeah. Oh, there's always one.
So he gets a lot less.
Yeah, yep.
We go through about 3.5 tonne of dog food a year.
Wow.
And that's just our South Island branch, so...
Come on.
Diamond! Good girl.
Easiest roundup ever.
Sit. Wait. Sit. Wait. Okay.
Into it. Love it.
Here you go, Scotty.
Oh yeah, where do these go?
These will go all in there.
There you go, dinner's up. Oh, oh, you're hungry. Oh, just let me put it down. It's okay, relax.
Jai thinks he's starving at the moment. He's on a bit of a diet, so he's... Samurai, this is our top dog, so he's the boss of everybody.
Yeah. So Michelle, in terms of success stories, what's the story behind this one?
So this is Volcom, and Volcom came to us through the pound system up north. And when he first came to us, he was quite aggressive. He used to chew on people's hands if he got pulled around, and with food and things as well. We discovered that a lot of that was because his fur was quite matted, and he had learnt that if he got pulled on, it was going to hurt. So it took us about a year to get him sorted. He started out up north, and then we transported him down to the South Island to have some more intensive training. And between our North Island foster home and us, we managed to get him to a point where we felt that he was safely rehomable. And he's been amazing, and he's really lucky. He's actually got a young military owner who's really, really good with him, gets all the exercise he needs, and knows all about his funny wee quirks. So he's become so good that he's just been used for a modelling photo shoot.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
Hit the big time, eh?
Yeah.
Some of these ones I believe you race them.
Yes, so we give all of our dogs a go at racing, but we have a core team as well that competes, and we've been fortunate enough to do quite well with that core team. This is one of them. This is Apache. He's the youngest of our team. He's just turned 2.
Oh, hello.
Okay, and then we have Aya, the big fluffy behind you. Aya. So she's 3. So she's just turned 3. And Samurai. Come here, buddy. So Sam's the boss of the whole pack. And Sam is 4 years old. And then somewhere wandering around is Po Kung Fu Panda.
I think the whole team are here right now. want the limelight.
And those dogs, they're all dogs that have come through us for one reason or another.
So Michelle, the dogs look pretty worn out.
Oh, they're just going back and forth a few times, so yep.
What's sort of the top speed of the dogs?
They can take off at about 45 kilometres an hour, but when we're doing long distance races, we really want them to sit at between 7 and 10 kilometres an hour.
Yeah. So with the racing side of it, how often do you sort of do that?
We train out here in the forest every about 3 nights a week, sometimes 4, just depends on what distances we're training for. Bigger distances, train every second day or every third day. Shorter distances, we can get away with training every day. Yeah.
And people at home, can they donate to you and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, they can. So Husky Rescue NZ's on Facebook. On that Facebook page is our bank account details, and they can direct credit into that. They can do bequests and things as well, or they can use Give a Little if they want to use a credit card. Then we set up on the Give a Little page as well. They're an awesome breed. Just if you're interested, do your research and be a really fit, active person.
Like any animal, a lot of thought should go into it before purchasing one. It's just not good for the welfare of the dog. Alrighty, up next on Rural New Zealand, we're at the Ironman 4x4 Winch Champs, and we even managed to spot a few Kiwis. See you then. Welcome back to rural New Zealand. It was a cold winter's crisp morning, and the conditions were just right for some 4x4 mud plugging action. On a fine winter's morning, I was invited to a special event in the back blocks of Cust. I wasn't quite sure what I was in for, but as soon as I opened my door, I heard the roar of the engines.
Oh, we're in Cust for round 2 of the Mainland Winch Challenge series. We've got 3 classes running today. We've got Clubman, we've got Outdoor, and we've got Open. I'm on stage 4, which is an Ironman sponsored course, and the guys are going through it, having a bit of difficulty with using the winches, all of them, and it's been a good day for them.
And the weather conditions are pretty nice today.
Oh, it started off beautiful. The ground was hard this morning, a bit of frost on it, and as it's warmed up, of course, the moisture's got into the ground, made it a little boggy and gooey. It's been very, very cool.
And this is a sort of regular event?
Yeah, we have the Mainland Winch Challenge series every year, and this year we've got 6 rounds. We're number 2, but it happens every year, and there's either 5 or 6 rounds per series.
And how many people sort of compete in these events?
We got 22 trucks today. We had 22 start yesterday. I think we got 17 start today through things breaking, that sort of stuff. But the guys are going good today. I haven't heard of anyone pulling out today.
And why aren't you racing?
Yeah, we had a little bit of an issue. Thank you for that, Scotty. We had a little issue with our truck. We broke a CV, and we also, which we repaired and replaced.
Experience wasn't on their side, but we watched Team Super Winch battle through the Ironman Challenge.
We're going so far so good, we're just taking it really quietly. We need to finish and not break, so.
Is it all about the driver or the co-pilot as well?
Oh, it's good teamwork, this one. A new navvy and a new driver, so we're just learning. Right, yeah.
Throughout the day, contestants take on various challenges in different difficulty stages. Ideally, if you can make it through the whole course without using your winch, it's ideal. But at the end of the day, teamwork is a must.
10 minutes 9, well done, guys.
Yeah, happy with that?
Yeah. A little bit of stuff up at the start there, but you try these strange lines that don't always work.
Every few weeks, these motor junkies get together to play in the mud throughout the South Island. The drivers tell me it's all technical skill, but I reckon it's just down to luck. It's definitely not for the faint-hearted, and if you're all about looking after your vehicle and keeping it in mint condition, this competition's definitely not for you. If you're after tough equipment for your 4x4 for on-road and off-road applications, talk to Ironman. They'll definitely have the expertise, and that can set you in the right direction. Not many New Zealanders are lucky enough to see a Kiwi, but we met some amazing people down at Orana Park who are doing great things with Kiwi conservation.
I'm a native fauna keeper, so I look after a range of native animals, but Kiwi is really where my main experience lies. So.
And what's sort of the program you got running with the Kiwis at Orana Park and in New Zealand?
So at the moment we're involved in a captive breeding program for brown kiwi. Brown kiwi are the North Island species of kiwi, and that is quite a widely run program. Most of the zoos in New Zealand are involved in that program. Captive breeding, we're doing it for partly to produce birds to be released into the wild, but also to produce birds to be going back into that breeding program depending on their genetic lines. And pretty much also a huge part of what we do is advocacy for these birds, and that educating the public is a really important way for people to become familiar with the birds and to feel connected to them, and then to want to help them.
What's the success rate for Kiwis in the wild?
So not great. So like I said, they're really vulnerable during their first few months of life because they don't have the adult protection. So in unmanaged areas where kiwi are found in the wild, not even 10% of chicks will survive to their first sort of 6 months of age. And actually currently the total population of kiwi around New Zealand are generally declining by about 2% every year. That's in unmanaged areas. And when you think about it, it's around 27 birds every week that are dying out there. So thinking about it like that, it's actually really quite shocking. We've got 3 breeding pairs of Kiwi at the moment that are housed off display. We also have 1 pair of young Kiwi, about 1 year old, that are housed in our nocturnal house. So the breeding pairs that are off display are being left to do their breeding thing without being disturbed, whereas the nocturnal house birds, the young pair, they're our advocacy birds. They're the birds that the public can come into Orana Park and see in a more natural setting. So it is nocturnal, a nocturnal house, so during the day the lights are off, so they're displaying their really nice natural behaviours. People can see them getting fed, and also we can give a really good advocacy message with those birds as well. So we have our daily talk that we give, and we can tell people all about the plight of the Kiwi, but also what's been done to help them and what people can do to help them as well.
So what are people's reactions when they see a Kiwi for the first time?
People are generally pretty excited the first time they see a Kiwi. A lot of New Zealanders I've talked to have never ever seen a Kiwi in the wild, and often never in captivity either. So being able to come into somewhere like this and see the birds in a relatively natural environment or setting and displaying really nice natural behaviours is really exciting for them. Overseas visitors that come to New Zealand, seeing a Kiwi is normally number 1 on the list in my experience. So for them as well, it's a great opportunity to see our national icon. They're known all over the world, and I think it's important for people to feel connected to these animals and being able to see them. And it's really hard to see Kiwi in the wild. They are nocturnal, they're very elusive, and so being able to see them here is a great way for people to connect and then want to hopefully help them in a conservation-focused way.
And what can people do at home that are out in the wilderness and having fun? Like, what can they do to protect Kiwi and other native birds?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people think they can't do much, but there's actually a lot that the general public can do to help. For us, a big thing is dogs, not just for Kiwi, but a lot of native bird species. We have a lot of flightless birds in New Zealand and a lot of birds that nest on the ground, which makes them really vulnerable to attack by dogs and other predators. Kiwi, though, are really particularly vulnerable to dog attack. They're almost the perfect prey for a dog. They smell quite strongly, they run really fast, and because Kiwi can't fly, they don't have the protection on their chest from the keel and the breast muscle that most bird species that fly do have. And so Kiwi are really vulnerable to crush injuries. So all a dog really has to do is pick a Kiwi up in its jaws and the Kiwi is pretty much dead. So keeping dogs controlled, keeping dogs in a lead is a huge thing that people can do to help Kiwi and our other native wildlife as well.
Well, thanks for watching Rural New Zealand. I certainly hope you enjoyed the show. Just remember to give us a like on Facebook, and if you're silly enough to miss an episode, you can watch it on demand. Join us next week as we hop up to North Canterbury and check out some on-farm native plantings, and we may even try and find some ghost bears. See you then on Rural New Zealand.